Good morning and welcome everybody. Oridar a croeso. By the authority given in the statutes of the Open University, I declare this congregation open for the conferment of degrees and the presentation of graduates. Distinguished guests, graduates, family and friends, it's my privilege and pleasure to welcome you all to the 25th of the Open University's degree ceremonies being held in 2019. I'm also delighted to welcome our guests who are supporters and friends of the University here in Wales and who found the time in their very busy diaries to be with us today. And a special welcome to our honorary graduates, Dr. Donald Berwick and Sir Paul Silk, who are delighted to be able to honour you today. And to some of the OU's pioneer graduates who attended our first degree ceremony back in 1973 and join us again as the OU celebrates its 50th anniversary. Each year, the Open University awards a range of qualifications that you've all worked so hard for, from certificates of higher education right through to doctorates. Throughout 2019, more than 6,000 graduates are being presented for their qualifications at our degree ceremonies. And for my colleagues, and certainly for myself, it's one of the highlights of our year because we're celebrating your success. The ceremonies are held in towns and cities throughout England, in Belfast, in Glasgow, Dublin, and of course today in Cardiff. You're graduating from the largest university in Europe with an extraordinary scale, scope, and reach. That success of your university is down to what our graduates achieve, and not just the qualification that you'll be presented with today, but the difference that you'll make with it. So it goes without saying that this is a very important occasion in the life of you, your families, your friends, as well as the university and all my colleagues who I hope you'll feel have nurtured and supported you. Now, you could be forgiven for thinking that the occasion is so important that it needs to be solemn. You'd be quite wrong. In every sense, this is a day of celebration, so I'll be very disappointed if anybody crosses the stage to anything less than thunderous applause or any other way you'd like to express your enthusiasm and support. So with that in mind, why don't all of our graduates today just stand? All of those who are able to, please stand. And friends, families, Open University colleagues, let's start today's ceremony by giving our amazing graduates a huge round of applause. There's also one more way that you can show your appreciation to your graduates who's here today. Do post messages or photos to social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Use the hashtag OUFamily to share your congratulations and celebration all the way around the world. Today's ceremony will begin with the awarding of the honorary degree of Doctor of the University to Donald Berwick. Professor Jean Hartley, Professor of Public Leadership in the OU's Business School, will present Dr. Berwick, who will sign the honorary graduate's book and make a reply. Following this, we'll see the presentation of those graduates who've gained higher degrees and first degrees of Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Engineering, and Bachelor of Laws. They'll be presented by Miss Judith Davis, Head of Social Work at the OU in Wales. Next will be the awarding of the honorary degree of Doctor of the University to Sir Paul Silk. Mrs. Louise Casella, National Director of the OU in Wales, will present Sir Paul, who will sign the honorary graduate's book and make a reply. Then we will continue our presentation of graduates with those who've gained Bachelor of Science degrees, foundation degrees, and diplomas of higher education. And we'll conclude the ceremony with a final address to the graduates by Mrs. Casella and myself. So I now call upon Professor Jean Hartley to present the first of our honorary degrees.
Vice-chancellor, colleagues, graduates and guests. Dr. Donald Berwick is a leading healthcare professional, a global pioneer and leader in healthcare improvement, including in patient safety and quality. His insights and his inspiring approach have helped transform the experience of millions of patients and their carers around the world, and he's changed the culture and practices of staff in hospitals and other health settings. Born and raised in Connecticut in the USA, Don studied medicine at Harvard and also gained a Master in Public Policy from the Harvard Kennedy School of Government. He specialized in pediatrics and has practiced at several hospitals in and around Boston. As a pediatrician working with children, Don became interested in how the quality of healthcare was monitored and assessed. He explored how quality was measured in other industries, such as manufacturing, using ideas from quality assurance expert Edward Deming, and he started to apply and adapt these ideas to the context of healthcare, first in the hospital where he worked, then in the late 1980s in the National Demonstration Project on Quality Improvement in Healthcare. In 1991, Don founded the Institute for Healthcare Improvement, which is a not-for-profit organization dedicated to improving the quality of healthcare systems through education, research, and demonstration projects, and through fostering collaboration among healthcare organizations and their leaders. He led this organization with imagination, rigor, and a passion for continuous improvement over the next 20 years. More recently, Don was an advisor to the Clinton administration on consumer protection and quality in healthcare, and more recently served under President Obama as chair of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid. Don's impact in establishing and growing the Institute for Healthcare Improvement cannot be overestimated. It's grown to have global reach and influence, with collaborative forums about improving healthcare in many countries, including the continent of Africa, and with a major impact on the strategic thinking and practical action in the UK's NHS. Many top-flight clinicians and managers across the NHS attribute their focus on patient safety and continuous improvement to Don's inspirational presentations, discussions, and mentoring. Don combines rigorous thinking with compassion and a strong sense of purpose as a leader. His rigorous thinking is evident in his analysis of healthcare as a whole system, his interest in systematic evidence, and the use of data, both numbers and stories, to understand those systems and where quality can be improved. His compassion is evident in his championing of the experiences of patients and their carers, arguing that a key way to ensure patient safety is to listen carefully to their voices. He makes healthcare underperformance personal to everyone, with stories about his father's care or about particular patients, encouraging others to do the same kind of personal reflection of, what if this was me? His combination of analytical systems thinking with personal reflection marks out his work and mobilizes thousands to join him in a social movement of healthcare improvement. His leadership puts at its heart constancy of purpose, how to improve healthcare quality. He understands the pressures on leaders in complex healthcare organizations, respects their work, and encourages them to put quality as the top goal of their organizations and teams. Don has called the NHS one of the most outstanding endeavors of modern times, and he has been a trusted advisor to successive governments on NHS reform. In 2013, after the systematic failings at Mid Staffordshire hospitals, he was asked by the then Prime Minister to undertake a review across the NHS into patient safety in a preventative capacity. Don used his considerable skills to assemble a diverse team of experts, in which I was delighted to be included. The recommendations on putting patients first, developing a culture of learning in the NHS, fostering growth and development of staff, and embracing transparency in the interests of accountability are contributing to significant change in the NHS. Today, Dr. Berwick continues to advocate for healthcare improvement in the USA and in the UK. Among his many accolades and awards, he has the rare distinction of an honorary knighthood, the highest honour available to non-UK citizens. It is therefore a great pleasure to recognise his outstanding contribution to global healthcare improvement in general and to the NHS in particular. Vice-chancellor, by the authority of the Senate, I present to you, for the degree of Doctor of the University, Don Berwick.
Vice-Chancellor, Professor Hartley, honored graduates, diolch. Thank you so much for the chance to join you here today. It's a great privilege. I congratulate all of you for your fine work and your future careers. I would at any point in my life have felt fortunate indeed to be welcomed into this community of learners and scholars. But I am moved today to say that this is especially so now. Your motto in the Open University, I understand, is open to people, places, methods, and ideas. But that is much more than a motto. I think it is a credo. It is a declaration of values, a declaration of expectations and of promises. Today, in my country and in your country, for reasons that I do not entirely understand, something quite different, something base, has gained a foothold, not open, but closed. The people, the places, the methods, and the ideas embraced in your creed find themselves at risk, excluded, disrespected, shut out. So many people in so many places with so many ideas are not hearing the words that they hunger for. Welcome, not fear, optimism, not exclusion, embrace, not separateness, solidarity. Open hearts, they want, open minds, open doors, and shared learning. This is of great consequence. The massive problems that we face today, locally, nationally, and globally, pose threats and challenges that will not yield to separateness. The problems of health, of inequality, of poverty, of peace, of climate change. These cannot be solved separately, only together, only when we are mindful of each other and of our interdependence. When leaders hesitate or fail to assert the values that bind us together, the only values that can truly save our children, the vulnerable among us, the peace, the planet, then I think it falls to civil society to articulate, to act on, and to defend those values. The instincts that created the Open University and that have allowed it to grow and thrive have never in my lifetime needed champions more. And that, my friends, is why I am today particularly so especially grateful to be among you. Thank you very much.
Vice-chancellor, I shall now present graduates who have gained higher degrees and have been able to attend here today. Cyflwynaf i chi ar gyfer gradd meistr yn y celfyddydau mewn hanes celf gyda rhagoriaeth, I present to you for the degree of Master of Arts in History with distinction, Sarah Bowden. Ar gyfer gradd meistr yn y celfyddydau mewn astudiau clasurol, cyflwynaf, for the degree of Master of Arts in Classical Studies, I present Rhian Williams. Ar gyfer gradd meistr yn y celfyddydau mewn ysgrifennu creadigol, cyflwynaf, for the degree of Master of Arts in Creative Writing, I present Betsan Davis. Ar gyfer y radd meistr yn y celfyddydau mewn addysg o bell ac ar-lein, y rwyf yn cyflwyno for the degree of Master of Arts in Online and Distance Education, I present Catherine Bailey. Ar gyfer gradd meistr yn y celfyddydau mewn cyfieithu, cyflwynaf, for the degree of Master of Arts in Translation, I present Daira Izquierdo Sierra. Ar gyfer gradd meistr mewn gweinyddiaeth busnes, cyflwynaf, for the degree of Master of Business Administration, I present Andrew McGregor. James Moss. Rebecca Parsons. Ar gyfer gradd meistr mewn gweinyddu busnes, rheoli technoleg, cyflwynaf, for the degree of Master of Business Administration, Technology and Management, I present Carl Lewis. Ar gyfer gradd meistr mewn peirianneg, cyflwynaf, for the degree of Master of Engineering, I present Matthew Davis. Ar gyfer gradd meistr yn y gwyddorau mewn datblygu ymarfer gofal iechyd, cyflwynaf, for the degree of Master of Science in Advancing Healthcare Practice, I present Karina Muzingwini. Ar gyfer gradd meistr yn y gwyddorau mewn mathemateg, cyflwynaf, for the degree of Master of Science in Mathematics, I present Mark Lloyd. Vice-chancellor, I shall now present graduates who have gained Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Engineering and Bachelor of Laws degrees and have been able to attend here today. The full subject details are printed in the insert within the ceremony programme. Ar gyfer gradd baglor yn y gwyddorau gydag anrhydedd dosbarth cyntaf, cyflwynaf, I present for the degree of Bachelor of Arts with First Class Honours, Rosemary Avey. Tilly Boscott. Ellen Chick. Sean Evans. Jemima Ferry. Nikki Getgood. Laura Griffiths. Therese Lewis. Steve Pepperday. Rachel Powell. David Sweeney. Andrew Wade. Christopher Williams. Martin Avey. Ar gyfer gradd baglor yn y gwyddorau gydag anrhydedd, cyflwynaf, for the degree of Bachelor of Arts with Honours, I present Lucy Biggs. Jim Blythe. Rhiannon Brown. Hilary Byrne. Lara Marie Carey. Joe Cunliffe. Ben Davies. Rebecca Davies.
Thank you.
Trevor Davies. Caroline Davies. Denise Deasy. Robert Elwood. Charlotte Ford. Nick Ford. Granville Fox. Amy Hill. Timothy Hoskin. Jennifer Howell. Karina Javed. Netta Camby. Tara Kiddy. Lynn Lerner. Emily Lewis. Emily Laura Lewis. Daniel Llewellyn. Sandra Mackenzie. Rebecca Mercer. Geraldine Meredith. Olivia Morehouse. Nia Morris. Sophie Morris. Sarah Mumford. Dominic Murray. Mary Perry. Jenny Riddiford. Glenn Russell. Timothy Scarf. Tanya Southgate. Kaylee Stevens. Stephanie Stevens. Susan Stone. Sam Strong. Hugh Thomas. Claire Tidy. Christopher Trahan. Alice Tuck. Jasmina Udin. Angela Williams. Charlotte Williams. Rhiannon Woodhouse. Jade Woolley. Ar gyfer y radd baglor yn y celfyddydau mewn gwaith cymdeithasol gydag anrhydedd, y rwyf yn cyflwyno for the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Social Work with Honours, I present Natalie Bennett. Beth Bosley. Paul Hughes. Lucinda Jennings. Ar gyfer gradd baglor mewn peirianneg gydag anrhydedd dosbarth cyntaf, cyflwynaf, for the degree of Bachelor of Engineering with First Class Honours, I present Nicholas Goss. Ar gyfer gradd baglor yn y gyfraith, gydag anrhydedd dosbarth cyntaf, cyflwynaf, for the degree of Bachelor of Laws with First Class Honours, I present Karen Shah. Ar gyfer gradd baglor yn y gyfraith gydag anrhydedd, cyflwynaf, And for the degree of Bachelor of Laws with Honours, I present Emma Arkless. Eleanor Brady. Christian Chown. Brian Druitt. Emma Hendy. Craig Legg. Sarah Miller. Sharon Nesbitt. Sam Oliffe. Chantal Payne. Stephanie Redhall. Nathan Roberts. Mark Saunders. Indigo Smith. Selena White.
Vice-chancellor, colleagues, graduates, guests. Sir Paul Silk is a lifelong public servant who has dedicated his career to serving and promoting democracy in Wales, the United Kingdom and beyond. Born in Crickhowell, Paul studied at Brasenose College, Oxford and Princeton University before joining the House of Commons as a clerk. He spent almost a quarter of a century serving some of the most high-profile departmental select committees, including those on foreign and home affairs. In 2001, Paul was appointed clerk to the National Assembly for Wales at a time when the new institution was relatively fragile and finding its feet, and not yet housed in the iconic Senedd building next door to us today. It was still testing out how to work in the newly devolved parliamentary landscape of the UK. Paul played a critical role in establishing sound and stable processes in the National Assembly, drafting the standing orders which govern the procedures and behaviours of its members, and playing a key role in enabling the fledgling institution to gain confidence and strength as a parliamentary body that today stands shoulder to shoulder with its fellow legislatures of the United Kingdom and sub-state governments in Europe. Paul later returned to the House of Commons to serve as Director of Strategic Projects, and since retirement has built on those networks and connections, embracing a range of challenging roles in the analysis and development of policy around devolution and parliamentary procedure. In 2011, Paul was appointed Chair of the Commission on Devolution in Wales to look at strengthening the arrangements underpinning devolution. The model of devolved power recommended by the Silk Commission and subsequently supported by the Welsh and UK governments fundamentally reshaped the nature of the relationship between Cardiff and Westminster. It afforded Wales a clearer set of legislative powers, based on the fundamental principle that devolution of power to Wales should benefit the whole of Wales and the United Kingdom. The work of Sir Paul and his Commission colleagues has made our devolution settlement more transparent and accountable. In 2015, Paul was knighted for services to parliaments and devolution. Today, Paul plays a leading role in analysing and promoting effective democratic processes in challenging circumstances. As an associate of the Westminster Foundation for Democracy, Global Partners Governance, and the United Nations Development Programme, he has advised parliaments in countries as diverse as Honduras, Sudan, and Georgia. Paul's expertise and experience have naturally led him to the academic community, and he is both an honorary fellow at Aberystwyth and an honorary professor at Cardiff University, as well as a fellow of the Learned Society of Wales and a former president of the Study of Parliament group. Paul is keen to promote public understanding of Parliament and democracy. He co-authored the first 4 editions of the indispensable volume, How Parliament Works, as well as writing the Guide to Practice and Procedure of the Parliamentary Assembly on the Council of Europe. Most recently, he has made important contributions to public debates around the Recall of MPs Act and is a member of the Steering Committee of the Constitution Reform Group. The group's proposals for a new Act of Union have received their first reading as a bill in the House of Lords, and they are prompting and informing wider debate on the impacts of Brexit on the stability of the Union. Paul is not only an advocate for, but an example of the importance of lifelong learning. As a language student here at the Open University, Paul is already a member of the OU family and has been an outstanding member of our community. It is always a pleasure to celebrate one of our own. However, this is a time when an understanding of and respect for the processes and institutions of democracy has never been more crucial. It therefore seems particularly appropriate to celebrate someone who has dedicated their life to serving and championing its importance. Vice-chancellor, by the authority of the Senate, I present to you for the honorary degree of Doctor of the University, Sir Paul Silk.
Vice-Chancellor, may I express to you my deep appreciation to the University for honouring me in this way, and my appreciation to Mrs. Casella for being too generous in the tribute that she paid to me. Your words were more generous than I deserve. Diolch o galon am eich airaithiau, am eich gwahoddiad, ac am y cymorth I fi fy hun ac am myfyrwyr eraill ledlaid Cymru, ledlaid Prydain, ledlaid y byd. Mae'r brifysgol agored yn bwysig iawn yn bywyd cenedlaethol ac dwi'n falch iawn fy mod I yn aelod y cymuned hon. As Mrs. Casella mentioned, I'm a student at the Open University. This is the 7th year that I've been a rather moderate student of modern languages. It's not going to be the last. But being a student of the Open University does make me a little bit sheepish about accepting a doctorate without submitting a thesis, without attending a single tutorial, without writing a TMA, let alone taking an end-of-term examination. It's much easier to receive an honorary doctorate than to receive the degree which you are receiving, I can tell you. As you've heard, my career has been in the world of politics, in Wales, in the United Kingdom, and more recently in many countries around the world. Politicians mostly get a pretty bad press. We knock them for telling lies, for putting personal, party, or sectional interests ahead of national interests, let alone international interests. They're just in it for themselves. They're dishonest. It's all about them, not us. They're a rabble, a shower, a set of second-raters. Parliament is no longer seen as the cockpit of the nation, as Churchill described it, but a shop sharad, a place where people talk and don't do anything. Well, the Open University's foundation by Harold Wilson and Jenny Lee 50 years ago is a reminder that politicians ought not to be caricatured in this way. Wilson and Lee believed that the idea of a university accessible to all would break down barriers and invigorate society. They fought against institutional conservatism inside the civil service and among their colleagues in government and in the higher education system of the day. They used politics and parliament to achieve beneficial change. In the UK today, the toxic atmosphere which has followed the Brexit referendum has put our political life, the easiness of our political life, in jeopardy. Some people think it has given them a free pass to abuse MPs, AMs, and councillors simply because they hold different views. Women politicians have been the recipients of a disproportionate share of this abuse. And regrettably, as we've seen in recent days, a number of talented women and a number of talented men have decided that they're not going to seek re-election because of the abuse they have suffered. There's talk of treachery, of coups, of a zombie parliament, and there's an expectation that the election in a couple of weeks' time will be fought on a people versus parliament theme. I believe this is deeply damaging, and I want to use this opportunity to make a rather unfashionable defence of politicians and of parliament. I left the House of Commons before Jo Cox was elected, and I never met her. But since her murder, there have been many accounts of the work that she did locally, nationally, and internationally. She has been praised rightly for her public service. My experience is that there are far more politicians who are in the mould of Jo Cox than we are often led to believe. The majority of politicians I've met over the last 40 years are motivated by the belief that they can help improve society by their actions. They're in it for others, they're not in it for themselves. Across all parties, the overwhelming majority show integrity and good faith. I've had the privilege over the years to work with Harold Wilson, with Margaret Thatcher, with Dennis Skinner, with Tony Blair, with Ian Paisley. Now, they're very different people, and they had very different views, but they all were in Parliament to benefit their fellow citizens. I've mentioned some MPs with a high profile, a high public profile, but actually the work of the more anonymous parliamentarians is just as challenging, and perhaps less rewarding and more thankless than that of their more famous colleagues. All the three functions of Parliament, scrutiny, legislation, and representation, involve hard slog. Now, it's occasionally exciting when somebody like Rupert Murdoch is custard-pied in a select committee, but the day-to-day business of legislation and scrutiny is not about that sort of theatre. It's painstaking, dull, and routine, but absolutely essential for the good governance of us all. Important bills cannot be fast-tracked through Parliament if they are to be examined properly and improved. There are few headlines in scrutinising secondary legislation or the detailed reports of the national audit offices, but these are the things that our AMs and our MPs do day in, day out. Representation is actually the most tasking of their functions. It means dealing with a whole host of difficult problems from constituents, never losing patience and working very long hours. And for all this, AMs and MPs receive scant praise and a lot of abuse. Now, those of you who have graduated today from the Open University have acquired critical tools, and you've been encouraged to engage in rational and considered debate. I hope that you will use those tools to combat the corrosive cynicism about politicians that is so common in our society. I'm not suggesting you should be supine or uncritical. We should all be active citizens involving ourselves in politics. We should not sit back and grumble. We should use our vote whenever we have the opportunity. I hope everybody in this room, with the possible exception of my colleague, honorary graduate, who isn't entitled to, I hope everybody in this room will vote on the 12th of December. But voting is not the end of engagement. Campaign for things you believe in. If you don't like decisions, agitate for change. Join political parties. Be active members of political parties. Form new political parties. Stand for office as councillors, as assembly members, as members of parliament. The intellectual and critical skills you acquired in this university will benefit you personally. The political process is one way in which you can turn those benefits into wider benefits for the society which we share. The political process should be a source of societal benefit, not a place of rancour and discord, and we all have our duty as citizens to do our part to achieve that. Llongyfarchiadau mawr I bob un ohonoch chi. Mae'r Brifysgol agored wedi rhoi llawer o manteision I ni. Gadwch I ni a'i defnyddio lles y byd yr ydym yn byw. Diolch yn fawr I chi.
Vice-chancellor, continuing the presentation of graduates, I shall now present those who have gained Bachelor of Science degrees, foundation degrees, and diplomas of higher education, and have been able to attend here today. The full subject details are printed in the insert with the ceremony programme. Ar gyfer gradd baglor yn y gwyddorau gydag anrhydedd dosbarth cyntaf, cyflwynaf, I present for the degree of Bachelor of Science with First Class Honours, Alice Allen. Ian Apadurai. Helen Cleal. Joe Howard. Sarah Matthias. Rachel Pitt. Ar gyfer gradd baglor yn y gwyddorau, gydag anrhydedd cyflwynaf, for the degree of Bachelor of Science with Honours, I present Rebecca Allwood. Magenta Barnes-Wood. Leah Bell Langford. Zoe Bennett. Natasha Berry. Louise Catherine Blondin. Sean Boats. Leanne Brown. Lorraine Brown. Gareth Coleman. Matthew Cox. Ross Cullis. Jess Edwards. Anita Evans. Sarah Evans. Elena Fisher. Billy Gager. Laura Gallagher. Megan Gallagher. Rita Green. Philip Gulwell. Maria Humphrey. Robert Howells. Ben Humphreys. Daniel Johnston. Charlene Luxton. Bethan Pascoe. Caroline Pierce. Gareth Phillips. Charlotte Polding. John Pontin. John Powell. Emily Reid. Mark Reeves. Gwendolyn Roberts. Ivy Salagini. Sandy Simon Garney. Stacey Skinner. Fiona Smiley Hedges. Catherine Sullivan. Kevin Sullivan. Rebecca Thomas. Stephen Twiddy. Lee Weaver. Nikita Young. Ar gyfer gradd baglor yn y Gwyddorau, cyflwynaf, for the degree of Bachelor of Science, I present Benjamin Barnes. Chris Daly. Barry Evans. Carly Hughes. Christopher Mars. Fiona Woodfield. Ar gyfer gradd sylfaen, cyflwynaf, for a foundation degree, I present Helen Coles. Agnieszka Glodek-Brainiak. Rachel Kelly. Ruth Lamphy. Alison Little. Carmen Scotcher. Ac ar gyfer diploma mewn addysg uwch, cyflwynaf, and for the Diploma of Higher Education, I present Sarah Belmont. Rebecca Neal. Jason Owen. Sharon Richter. Nilma Sajid.
Bore da, gwesteion aelodau'r Senedd, staff ac wrth gwrs aeth graddedigion rhyfeddol. Mae heddiw wedi bod yn diwrnod arbennig iawn I bawb yma, diwrnod I gofio am weddill eich bywyd. Good morning everyone, guests, members of Senate, staff and of course our wonderful graduates. This has been a very special day for everyone here, a day to remember for the rest of your lives. It's been just wonderful to see you all cross the stage. You look so rightly proud of everything that you've achieved. And from up here, we could see the faces of the audiences as the families and friends of yours as you cross the stage. The clapping, the joy, the sheer pride they had in everything that you have achieved. And they clapped and cheered as their very special person received their scroll. The wonderful and inspiring stories from everyone and the joy and pride, and we did see a little bit of terror and the occasional tear as you went across the stage, but all of that was just so fantastic to see. Each of you is extraordinary. Together, you are even more extraordinary. We believe that you are the most amazing body of graduates anywhere in the UK. In fact, today, all of you and your friends and supporters are probably sharing this auditorium with the most extraordinary people you are ever likely to meet. Rydych chi och yn ysbrydoliaeth, a mae gennym barch at ac ymdrechion I gyrraedd y man hwn heddiw. For family, friends and supporters, you know the incredible efforts your graduate went to in achieving their qualification. But many of you, and many of our graduates today, won't know very much about the other graduates and just how amazing you are as a body. Let's take a moment to show ourselves why. I'm going to ask the graduates a few questions so we can all discover a bit more about you. If you can, graduates, would you mind raising your hands to my questions if it applies to you? So, who was employed or did voluntary work at some stage during their study? Thank you. Who started a family during their study? And how many others of you raised and supported children throughout your studies? And who cared for parents, partners, or other dependents during their study? And please don't put your hand up if you'd rather not, or if it's tricky for you, but who carried out their studies whilst registered with a disability? As you saw, almost every student here has needed to fulfil some other obligation alongside their study. We've such a diverse and talented student body. You are pretty amazing. We're so proud to have you as members of a university that believes where you start in life and what you have to deal with in your life shouldn't limit where you go. And let's share a small frustration over words that sometimes used to describe students like you. Frankly, describing you as part-time students doesn't really cut it at all. It's more like double time or treble time, given all you've combined with your studies to get here today. You've been on a really tough shift. But some of you out there are probably thinking there's only one thing tougher than being an OU student, and that's living with one. And many of you, as you came across the stage today, pointed out your friends, family members, supporters, acknowledging that your achievement belonged as much to them as it did to you. So, graduates, if you're able to, can I ask you to stand again? Take a look around, find your family and friends in the audience who are celebrating with you today. They've been by your side every step of the way. Let's thank them for supporting you, for standing by you. Gadewch ni dweud diolch I bob un ohonyn nhw. Fantastic. Thank you very much indeed. I'm now going to hand over to the Vice-chancellor to give his personal address. Thank you all very much.
It's a huge honour to be the Vice-chancellor of the Open University. It's the most wonderful job in the world. And it's a huge privilege to share this very special occasion with all of you. Very well done, and thank you for studying at the Open University. It's also wonderful to have OU colleagues joining Louise and me on the platform, and of course, who've been marshalling you around this incredible building. It's an exciting day for all of them as well. Many of the staff on our Wales support lines are here. They'll have had conversations with many of you, giving you study advice that got you started or seeing you through a tough patch. And some of our academic colleagues who designed and presented your courses are also represented here today. And our incredible associate lecturers, your tutors who taught and supported you and got you through to your success are here cheering you along too. So let's give them a huge round of applause. Thank you. When the OU started back in 1969, our staff and our pioneer students really were taking a step into the unknown, putting their faith in an innovative university that was using new methods of teaching, new methods of delivery to reach new groups of learners. 50 years later, and more than 2 million students have studied with the OU. And that's not just a university, that's a social movement. We've remained true to that original pioneering and innovative spirit, summed up on our shield, learn and live. And I love that, learn and live. You only live by learning. An OU qualification is something to be very, very proud of, something widely recognised, widely respected. For half a century, the OU's impact has been phenomenal. From the ocean to the universe, our world-leading research has shaped understanding of the seas and the skies. Over 1,300 employers regularly invest in our courses. And in Wales, we have students who work for employers as diverse as the health sector, from care assistants to nurses, the education sector, from teaching assistants to school heads, and the private sector, from micro businesses and SMEs to large multinational companies. We're incredibly proud of you, and I hope you're proud of your university, which is a university like no other. We don't just provide formal courses for qualifications, but we care about the educational well-being of the whole community. That's why we partner with the BBC to co-produce TV and radio programmes that reach audiences of millions. We've taken learning right into people's living rooms, and we've wanted our learning to make a difference, whether about ending the global crisis of plastics pollution or just inspiring thousands of people to go out and survey the wildlife in their back gardens or neighbourhoods. And did any of you see the recent series of Blue Planet 2? If you did, you joined almost half of the UK viewing public. Or what about the documentary, Our Dementia Choir, showing how music can help combat dementia? In Wales and across the UK, we work with community organisations, employers and trade unions to reach everyone who wants to learn. We work with partner organisations to help those through their first steps into higher education, and with carers organisations so that we can provide opportunities and support to those with demanding family challenges. The Open University serves Wales, but in return, Wales contributes immensely to the OU. Wales has pioneered adult education, and that continues today, setting an example around the world. Education, though, can be a source of division as much as opportunity if it's not equitable and inclusive. No part of the OU is more passionate about that social justice mission than our colleagues and students here in Wales. Today, you join a global community of Open University alumni. Please stay with us on your lifelong journey, which continues, whether to return to study, to progress your career and learn further, or to support the university in so many other possible ways. And do encourage others to follow you. You've achieved something very special, a qualification from the OU. Put it to good use. Education is for sure about your success, but it's also about equipping you to help others. And if we want a better world, it's what we do for others that will make the difference. Well done, Diane. You're all amazing. One last time, would all our graduates please stand? And let's give them one more huge, the loudest, most rowdy round of applause. Congratulations. The proceedings of this degree ceremony have been completed, and I now declare this meeting of congregation closed. Would all who are able to now please stand?